Read it. Hard to remember.
I know.
Things on Friday evenings and all day Saturday.
Yeah.
Like every other. All right. No, it's not.
That was mine.
And it's not.
It's on like a home.
But it's not over here.
You got something in your pocket? Like a phone?
You know what? I bet some of the electronics is.
But why?
I mean, you sat here for years.
I want to call to order the city council meeting for the city of Dunnellon. Would everybody please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Somebody like to lead us in a prayer? If not, we'll have 1 minute or something. Oh, go ahead, please.
Heavenly Father, thank you for your many blessings. Thank you for the blessing of living in such a beautiful town. Thank you, Lord, for each one who takes an interest in Dunnellon and for these who've been called by you to serve. Help our meeting to go well and to please you in our attitudes and in the decisions that are made. I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, man, could you call roll?
Mayor Dunn,
Here.
Vice Mayor Inskeep,
Here.
Councilperson Mendoza.
Here.
Councilman,
Here.
Councilwoman Cubbage, Jan Smith, Finance Officer,
Here.
Chad Ward, Public Works Manager,
Here.
Kelly Wine, Community Development,
Here.
Michelle Leonard, Assistant Clerk,
Here.
Chief Scaglione,
Here.
Lieutenant Bray,
Here.
anybody?
Mm,
Oh, Tom Newman, Police Department. City Attorney Andrew Hand.
Here.
The agenda for this meeting was posted on the city's website and City Hall bulletin board on Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, and was amended June 8th to add back up to agenda item number 7. And once again, I would like to remind everyone to please speak clearly into your microphones because we're having trouble picking you up on the recording and listeners on Zoom cannot hear you.
Okay, couple comments from me before we get started. One, it's fairly large crowd. I want to remind everybody there's an exit behind you and one to your right in case some emergency happens and you need to get out of here. Also, we will start with council comments on this agenda. Does anyone on the council have any comments about the agenda? We're all good? Okay. I've just got one, and it has to do with a meeting we had last week on short-term rentals. We will be calling another meeting for that topic probably during this meeting. And so if you don't mind, if you want to talk about that tonight in your public comment, you're welcome to do so. But if you'd like to hold off on that until the next specific meeting for that, I would appreciate it. Okay. Now, public comments on non-agenda items. If you would like to talk about anything that is not on the agenda, you are free to do so at this time. I ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Speak clearly into the microphone, giving your name and address, and try not to address anyone other than me on this council. If you wouldn't mind just addressing any comments to me. Do we have anybody signed up?
Yes, I have Kathy Dunn.
Oh, geez.
Kathy Dunn, 11386 Hendricks Drive. I wanted to address an issue that has been bothering me since I moved here in 2017. The fact that our Dempsey dumpsters and our mechanical equipment are not placed according to our comprehensive plan. In our future land use element section, one of the policies states that screening of all mechanical equipment, utility devices, and similar service components. That is not being done by FUGA, especially in our historic Granada subdivision, and also in Dunnellon Heights. Also, dumpsters will be located to avoid negative impacts to adjacent residential uses. And also, even if they're not facing residential, they're facing our major thoroughfare that goes to our Rainbow River, and our vision statement states that we are ecotourism community. And I'd much rather look at the trees and the sky and the sun and the river than a dumpster. And a little birdie told me that we are going to be negotiating a new contract with Waste Management, and we might have some leverage to get them to follow our policies. Also, if they cannot be located out of sight, can we screen them? The other thing is some of our dumpsters that belong to this on city property are not located well. The parking lot behind the police station, that is 2 dumpsters out there that really should be screened because people driving by on West Pennsylvania can see them. So even though it's a small thing, I think if we add up all these small things, we will have a much more attractive and eco-friendly town. Thank you.
Bless you.
Okay, anybody else?
I don't have anyone else signed up, and I don't have anyone on Zoom.
Oh, okay. All right. Again, the way the normal council meeting works now, for any agenda item, if you want to speak
I'm sorry,
specifically.
Mayor.
Oh.
Excuse me. I did have one that signed up. I'm sorry.
Okay.
In advance. David Cover.
David Coker, okay.
I signed on the wrong paper. I'm Paula Koger. I am at 11983 Palmetto Way, Dunnellon. And my background is that I have been in healthcare for 59 years. Who
Whoa.
would believe that? Okay. And what the relevance of that is that I am noticing what is a potential hazard for the health of people who are utilizing the river in front of our house. Now, this is kind of a strange setup, but it's right by the bridge. Last year, the city got the bridge jumpers off of it with the cooperation of the whole county. And that has really not been a problem. But at the same time, they also said that nobody can enter the water from the deck, the Blue Run deck. So that has not been enforced, and so they're climbing in. And one thing they're doing when they climb in there is they're swimming across the river, they're swimming down the river, and the people who aren't entering that side are climbing down the cement way and entering the river there. Now, what prompted me to come today is we were working very hard outside on our dock, And I heard a young man say very loudly, "We got to get at least 50 people here with 50 dogs." And he came over and he said, "How y'all doing?" Now that's what prompted me to come here today. The anticipation of 50 dogs in the water right beside our house, because they do bark, they do go after people, and there's a constant yelling, "Settle down, dog," that kind of stuff sometimes. But the big concern for me is that we have about 3 boats parked in front of our deck, and they have on the other side a couple, and that makes the waterway for passing boats, barely big enough for a boat. And what's happening then is the kids are swimming in the water with no identification, easy to miss. And so it could be that they got jammered by something. Now, also, I see that there were about 6 paddle boards and kayaks sitting in the water watching the guys jump off the tree. So it's a major attraction. It's probably Florida's greatest attraction. Never mind Disney. It's right there. And so they are just taking full advantage of the situation. The other little point, okay, I'm done, is that they are landing from the tree on their bellies and other parts.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
I did have one other person fill out a request to speak for him, but it's Bridget Hanley, and I don't think she's here. I don't see her on Zoom either.
You sign up on it.
You signed up. What's your name, sir?
Thomas Crowe.
Thomas Cross. Did you have a specific agenda item you wanted to speak to? Did you have a specific agenda item?
Actually, the young lady that just spoke, I'd like to address that. If I could.
That's okay. Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, okay. You can, please just state your name and address, and
I don't live there, but I get.
that's okay. That's okay. We're free. You don't have to live here.
Thank you, sir. My name is Thomas Cross. I live at 19611 Southwest 88th Loop in Dunnellon. I do paddle. I'm an old man. I do exit there. I kind of appreciate the swimmers because I am an old man. I cramp up and I fall out of the crazy kayak. But what I'm here for mainly is I heard some of the conversations and read some of the conversations on Facebook. And town is the river, in my opinion. And I am new to town, but I used to come this way quite a bit for the last 12 years. I lived in Ocala, so I'm part of the problem that you guys have to deal with. But I do live here now, so I want to be part of the solution. And I did take the effort to go by the town swimming hole that we have. That's what I'm going to call it because I am country. It looks like we have a place that we can address some of the swimming problems at, but it needs money. And I worked your job years ago, and money is hard to come by in a small town. I'm going to make my minutes as short as I can for you. I would just suggest that we maybe go back to either county or state level and say that we have an impact, and the impact is countywide. We are pulling people from other towns to this town. It's hitting all over this river, and we need money, and we need money from them to address our swimming hole. And if we get that money, we can maybe say we have a swimming hole. We have a swimming hole for our residents, and it could be for our residents if we set this up correctly. But we need to clean it up. We need to add to what we have. Yes, there's going to probably be people upset with that. That's why you guys get paid the big bucks and you get harpooned in the back on a regular basis. But I think you have the start of a solution there. And you maybe go back to the county. When were those polls that we're talking about, like KP hole and that, what, 90? Maybe they have to look at what they've developed and maybe look to expand on what they have. I won't even take my full 2 minutes. I appreciate your time, folks.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
My name is David Koger, and I live at 11983 Palmetto Way. And when we moved here back in 2010, I used to be able to jump off my dock and I would maybe bog down in maybe 6 to 7 inches of mud, right? My wife mentioned we were working this weekend out by the docks, and I am now probably 3 to 3.5 foot in mud. And the reason that has happened is because of the a couple of reasons. I'm an engineer, been a road and bridge engineer for all my career. And what has happened is the detention area that where both the city and the county dump their wastewater into, right next to our house, flows out into the river, and the sand settles in and the mud winds up underneath our dock. So I'm going to ask that the city look at doing, and I've asked for the city to fence that area, because what's happening is the people come through there and they've propped down the vegetation that's supposed to catch the silt and stuff going into the river, but nobody wants to address the issue. It's a joint issue that the detention area is permitted by the city and the county and Swift Mud, and everybody wants to point the finger at somebody else and say, we don't want to do anything. Well, it's time for somebody to do something. You guys did do something about the kids jumping off the bridge, because that was a danger. We also have the current danger, because my wife mentioned it. We've got kids swimming back and forth across that river, right and left, and boats coming down. And nobody's got dive flags on. Nobody's got floaties on the back of them where you can see them. Sooner or later, somebody's going to get hit. They're going to get killed. And Dunnellon is going to be at fault, because you guys have been warned to do something about that, and you haven't done anything. I've been up here for 3 years now asking for you guys to fence that area. Everybody keeps saying we can't do it because it belongs to somebody else. Well, it belonged, the detention area, the property belongs to the city of Dunnellon. It was permitted, a joint permit with the city, the county, and Swift Mud. So you guys need to do something to fence that area off. Now, you stop the jumpers, but if you ran a fence, got the county to allow you to attach to their fence, you could stop the access from that corner. You've got an ordinance that stops the access from the ramp. Now, Swampies can deal with Swampies issues, and the other side right now does not appear to be an issue. That's all I've got to say. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Paula, and I am a resident of the city of Dunnellon. Good evening, council. I know this is not open for discussion, but I hope it will be addressed when the agenda allows. Now that this new Blue Run ramp ordinance was passed, many of us feel there are unanswered questions, and we would like to be more informed on your decision. We want to know how locals and visitors that don't attend meetings will know about this ordinance. If a new sign is to be erected, we hope you included no items are to be left unattended on the ramp, which would help the problem that you're trying to alleviate. We hope that you also mention the Florida statute fine for littering. We hope you are concerned with possibly causing more dangerous scenarios of people entering the ramp area over barricades and steep slopes. So we still ask that the $50 fine can be limited to certain days and hours. We wonder how this new ordinance will keep KP Hole customers from swimming in front of the ramp and standing on the ramp while waiting for the shuttle if KP Hole attendants are not there to advise. This is quite common at the height of exit times. The city is afraid of being sued because someone may get hurt or killed, as was mentioned on May 10th. We wonder how this ordinance is going to help if it does not prevent swimming in the ramp area, but just the use of the ramp to swim. So as you said, these days people sue over anything. We wonder if the council understands that during the summer months, the KP Hole and State Park are at full capacity almost by 9 a.m. as well as Dinkins Memorial Park. The council really hasn't taken away the privilege of swimming as it was already in the agreement, but the council has definitely taken away the small town charm using this ramp for a quick dip or a quick visit for those that truly want to abide by the law. We hope the council is willing to work on giving something back, working on another free area for locals to enjoy swimming, since watercraft people can enjoy free floating and free paddling. We are truly blessed to have Chaplain A. Dinkins Memorial Park, but I'm disappointed that on the city website, there's this tiny description and no further information on fees, the hours, notices of why it may be closed, However, in the description, it does read, the city will continue its efforts to improve the park and amenities for the enjoyment of our visitors. I'm standing here asking the council to consider, no matter where you live, no matter what the alligator situation is, how can we improve park hours, whether swimming is allowed or not? How can we add parking spaces outside of the park? How can we advertise better public information about this park? What are the financial numbers? I just saw the budget. Adding a launching area at this park to alleviate the overcrowding at the boat ramp and Blue Run ramp. Please don't tell us how bad you feel about this and that you're sorry. Instead, show us how bad you feel by replacing your decision with a better place for us locals to go swimming. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I'll try to address some of this real quick without getting too far off the agenda. First of all, there is going to be a cleanup at City Beach tomorrow. Any volunteers that would like to show up, please come. It's already been scheduled. What time does it start? 9 o'clock in the morning? It will be at City Beach. I'm giving it to you right now. This is the first time I heard y'all wanted to volunteer. Y'all come, you can call anybody at City. Okay, but
Public comment can only occur when someone is at the podium after they've stated their address for 3 minutes.
Right.
Thank you.
okay, so please let me finish, okay? Seriously, there's a cleanup tomorrow. I'll find out how you can get this information, but it had already been scheduled. The beautification committee of this town, if you would like to be involved, will give you all that information. Also, to let you know, the city has been working on and with FWC to stop the boats parked at Blue Run Park and at the bridge. We're trying to get something worked out to where they can no longer park there because I think it's extremely dangerous. Just like I thought it was extremely dangerous to let people swim right there. This will probably be in the July meeting. If you'd like to come back, we'll put it on the agenda. The final thing has to do with that fence they're talking about. Yes, that is owned by City of Dunnellon. I would hope at the next meeting, we will be discussing how to fence that off. Okay, now let me get back to the agenda.
Wally, can I just
Yes,
add two things? So if you fill out an application, which I think is in the lobby, and you sign up for beautification, you get regular email the beautification committee is doing and where the cleanups are. So when we ask where is the notification of the park cleanup, I would say that that has come out through emails from the city for anyone who's signed up for beautification. Just because you sign up doesn't mean you have to come to every event. You can come 2 hours a year, but pick up an application and help us help the city. We're 5 people. We do have Kathy Dunn in the audience who started the beautification committee, I don't know, a year or 2 ago. They've done tremendous things and we need everybody's help to make a difference. Oh, the other thing I just wanted to address was I know we're doing some follow-up on the slats on the tree that we're talking about. There may have been an ambulance there some days ago from someone getting hurt jumping off the tree. So if we can continue the follow-up on how we might address the slats on the tree, it might just be helpful. That's it. Thank you.
okay. Anybody else on this?
I just want to address her point, the lady who just brought up the point about the notification. Right over there where they have the parking lot, right at Pennsylvania and 41, where they got the historic district. Could we put a sign up there similar to what the Chamber's got, that's got upcoming city events or meetings or anything? So that if we had a cleanup, we could put a sign up there, City Beach cleanup?
It's all online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all online. Okay,
I believe also it was in the Riverland News.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Again, we'll try to keep y'all informed on this. All right, let's get back to the agenda, if we don't mind. I don't want this meeting to drag on tonight. First, there is the consent agenda, which all of us have, I hope, read through. Do we have any comments from the audience on the consent agenda? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
Have a second? Second. Any discussion up here?
Yeah, I apologize, and I tried to reach out to Chris. I was too late, though. The $7,000 for the training. I'm not understanding what that's about. Can we ask Chris to come up and explain that one more time?
Sure.
So I'm not sure what I'm voting on.
Okay. I think it was actually, I was gonna say, I think it was Ron, but go
Okay,
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah, what that's for is within the police department, we have a software that manages both our crime reports and our evidence room that we have to maintain. And then there are different standards. Because of that, because of the loss of administrative personnel,
Mhm.
obviously, we're having to bring that group back in and retrain administrators so that it can be administered. Because we have to go in and audit and do everything else. So that's what that money is for.
Okay, and so is this for software? Is it for a person to come in and,
It's for a
train?
trainer to come in for 3 days. Yep.
okay,
This is not purchasing new software or anything else like that. That's existing in-house.
3 days for $7,000 sure sounds awful steep.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, but again, we're having to pay their travel from out of state in order to come here for 3 days. And then all the materials, go ahead and provide the education and work aids, curriculum, et cetera.
Okay, and who else going to receive the training right now, Ron?
Every single person that's currently on the administrative staff within the police department. So that way, because our goal is to build the redundancy, so we don't run into this again.
Okay, so that would be yourself, the chief,
Chris,
and Tom?
Tom, and also James Roberts.
Okay,
And then
gotcha.
we'll have one new hire that'll probably be in there as well.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
No problem.
Any other questions about the consent agenda? Okay, we got a motion and a second. Can I get a vote on this? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, that's the consent agenda. Now, the regular agenda. Is Paula going to speak?
She asked that, this be removed from. the
That's what I
agenda.
thought. I just didn't want to skip it. Okay. Is Scott here? Okay, Scott. Please come to the podium. This gentleman is from Marion County. He talked to me along with Kathy Bryant the other day about a program where we're going to get a whopping bunch of money. He's going to explain it and how it works.
Sure. Good evening, commissioners. Scott Quintel from Marion County Community Services. There's a packet that I did bring, and I hope that was passed out to you. Very brief background. My intention is to give you some information and answer any questions you have. There is a decision that I had spoken with Mayor Dunn about for you all to make. There were there were lawsuits brought by the state of Florida against pharmaceutical manufacturers, distributors, pharmacies as it related to opioids and the prescribing of opioids. Those lawsuits resulted in settlements, and those dollars are being distributed across the state of Florida into municipalities to address opioid-related issues, substance abuse, treatment, prevention, those types of programming. The front sheet that you have in that packet shows the breakdown of funding coming into Marion County. The first column is the regional fund, and I'll explain more about that momentarily. And then you see there are additional columns there for each of the municipalities, including the city of Dunnellon, which is expecting to receive just over $47,000 over the next 18 years. The regional fund that I mentioned earlier will be covering all of Marion County, and that number has just recently been updated to $11.8 million that will be received over those next 18 years. There is a opioid settlement committee that has been set up by an interlocal agreement with the county, and the members that are on that committee are on page 2. I will read that briefly just so it's in your minutes. Chief Mike Balkin from the Ocala Police Department, Rich Bianculli representing the Marion County Hospital District, Ira Bethay Jr. representing Ocala City Council, Jesse Blair from the Ocala Fire Department, Commissioner Kathy Bryant representing Marion County Commission, Christy Jurgens representing Florida Department of Health in Marion County, Judge Robert Lant representing the 5th Judicial Circuit, Ben Marciano, who is an active recovery representative on the committee, Beth McCall, representing the Marion County Children's Alliance, Chief Rodney Mascow from the Marion County Fire Rescue, and Sheriff Billy Woods from the Marion County Sheriff's Department. The remainder of the packet is just information such as the meeting dates, which are all sunshined and are open to the public for anyone to attend. And then the remaining pages describe the very broad and vague uses for these dollars. The issue to come before you all is if you are interested in receiving the $47,017 directly to the city of Dunnellon. And then if you do that, that will be over the next 18 years. As you look at the chart, it would be anywhere between $2,000 and $2,800 annually. You'd receive a payment once a year. City of Dunnellon would then be responsible for all reporting back to this, determining how those funds would be used, making sure that they meet the eligible uses within the document, and then reporting back to the state on an annual basis on how those funds are being used. The other option for the city of Dunnellon would be to put those $47,000 in with the regional fund, which again is going to be about 11.8 million. Those funds would then be used to serve all the residents of Marion County, and all reporting and planning requirements would be covered by opioid settlement committee, which would relieve the city of Dunnellon from any of those reporting responsibilities. So that in short is the information. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'm gonna speak first, if you don't mind. Kathy Bryant called me about this the other day and was kind of filling me in real quick, and then Scott called me back. And, you know, my first reaction was, this $47,000, we ought to get it and spend it and do what we want to, but that's not how this works. We are going to get about $2,000 to $2,500 a year. We have to develop our own program on how to spend it. Then we have to file, basically, in my mental mind, a tax return explaining how much money we got and where it went. And we have to account for this every year for the next 18 years. After listening to all this, I went from absolutely we want the money and we'll spend it to no, you just take care of it. We'll spend more than $2,000 a year trying to keep up with this, is my opinion. And we have to develop our own program on how to spend it. I just don't think it's worthwhile. That's where I got.
Yes,
Y'all go ahead.
I'd like to comment and then implement the program.
Right. Yeah, good point. Good point, Jen.
Yeah, I would say as a licensed social worker who does behavioral health for a living, that this would be something that we would want to team with the county on.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing I thought was very amusing when I read this was the amount of money each city gets. Poor McIntosh is going to get $371 over the next 18 years. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, the distribution formula was set at the state level.
Right. I'm just joking about that.
Absolutely.
But clearly, you know, if we were Marion County or if we were the city of Ocala getting $1 million, yeah, I think we could probably come up with all this and do the accounting and reporting. But personally, I just thought $2,000, we'll spend more than that each year trying to keep up with it, is my reaction. Do you have any comments, Tim?
What would your comment be to Wally's comment based on what you know, Scott?
Yeah, I think so. For a little bit of background, City of Bellevue has already given us an indication that they will be rolling their dollars into the regional fund as well. I think the other thing I would do, Councilman, is just ensure you that as this committee is administering these funds and running this process, it is very intentional on the part of that committee to make sure that they will be serving all Marion County residents, which of course includes folks here in Dunnellon.
Okay.
Would an example of this be like, for instance, in some kind of, just an example, a local doctor's office in Dunnellon might have access to medication assisted treatment or certified recovery specialists? Is that something that we might see kind of embedded here in our community, even if it's on a small scale? Because it's very difficult for people to get to Ocala and get to other places to get these services.
Sure. So we're in the process right now of putting together the priorities, which will determine what will be funded and how that will work. A number of things that are already being discussed is medication assisted treatment, whether that's through the Ocala Fire Rescue or the Marion County Fire Rescue paramedicine programs, which can bring those medicines to folks anywhere in the county, or whether that would be through local locations or a partner like SMA Healthcare. A lot of that is still being worked out, but making sure that folks have access to those treatments is something that is being discussed. And transportation and geography, because Marion County is such a large County is one of the things that is coming up in that conversation. I would also encourage, if anyone wants to find out more about it or understand, at the risk of the extra time, I can always come and update you again as in a couple of months as we go through that process. But again, these meetings are open to the sunshine, and any of you would be welcome to attend them if you wanted to learn more about how the process was going.
Are they recorded?
They are not recorded, but there are minutes that are created, and we can certainly share those minutes with you.
That would be great. Thank you.
I don't know a procedure as to whether we can just make a motion and do it now to just make the final decision on what to do with these funds, or should we put that off to next month, or what do we need to do? Anybody have any thoughts?
Could we just go ahead and have a vote?
Well, that's what I'd rather do.
I'd say just have a vote, and then after, if we have to make an amendment after that, we can do it, but just get it off the table.
Yeah, you can pick up something on the fly.
Okay.
I think after the general business, or if you want to amend the agenda to address it now,
Okay.
that is okay.
Okay, I guess if we're gonna do it this way, I need to get public comments on this particular issue concerning the opioid settlement fund.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Does anybody have a comment about these funds? Okay. Yes, sir. I figured you would.
Chief Scaglione, before we make any motions and votes, I have no clue what you're looking at. So if this is something that's going to involve the police department, I would like to be able to review this stuff and have looked
Okay.
at and have input before you take a vote.
You have my copy.
Probably going to take longer than me to sit back there and look at it. So.
Now that's probably a good move. Why don't we put this on the agenda for next month? I think we're almost in unanimous, unless Chief comes up with some reason we don't, we'll be giving this money back to Marion County and let Marion County handle this. But let's put it on the agenda for July, and then we'll vote on getting this done. Okay.
Dave Kroger had. They want to speak.
Go ahead.
My name is still David Coe. I live at 11983 Palmetto Way, Dunnellon, Florida. I also own property out in Oregon when I was out there working on the bridge program. And I was out there last month and I attended a city council meeting where they had made a mistake of accepting some money and deciding to abide by what the state government said, was that each city was to provide accommodations for homeless people. As a result of that, the downtown parking lot had turned into a homeless camp of about 1,500 people for a city that only has 2,500 people, because it's close to the river, et cetera, et cetera. And my comment out there was, most of these state funds or any funds that come in, if you build it, they will come. So if we want to get involved in this and we want to build it here, they will come. And I'm not sure I want those people in my neighborhood. Thank you.
Good comment. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, well, we'll put this on the agenda next month and get this moved on. Okay. The next item, item number 6, the appointment of a police chief. Do we have any public comment? Would anyone like to speak?
I have Kat Kelly.
Okay.
If this is part of the consent agenda, I'll. No.
No.
My name is Kat Kelly. I retired from FWC. I've worked this community for many, many years and care for this community very much. I work currently at the police academy in town. I've known Chris for 30 years and I've watched him operate both on national level, state level, and local levels in terms of criminal justice furthering the cause. And question I would ask that I always ask, does the position make the man or does the man make the position? And with Chris, I watch plenty of people. I've trained all across this country, and I see plenty of people take positions for the power, and very few of them take it for the right reasons to serve. And I can tell you, after 30 years watching national, state, and local, Chris has a servant's heart. And when it looked like Dunnellon's police department's future was uncertain. I had a conversation with him and he said, I'm not going to go to another agency. This is where I want to be. And if Dunnellon Police Department isn't going to be there, then I'm done. That's the only place that I want to have the rest of my police career. And I can tell you, and knowing him and working with him, he's been the happiest here since he's worked at Dunnellon. And in closing, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, you all are lucky to have him and he's lucky to have you. I think this is, I can't tell you and give you any more endorsement than that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have anybody else that would like to speak in the audience?
Paid roll.
No, no, you got to get all the facts out, Mike.
My name is Mike, Chief of Police of the Williston Police Department. I have been in law enforcement for over 34 years. I've known Chris for a long time. Chris is a great man, just like Ms. Kat said, and ever since he's taken this position, I've been supporting him and working with him and trying to get him in the right track, and look like he's done a very good job because you all are swearing him in tonight. So if he's getting sworn in tonight, which I'm pretty sure he is, from the Director of the Florida Police Chief Association, Antoine Shepard, and myself, the Assistant Director of the Florida Police Chief Association, we want to congratulate you, and we want to tell you welcome to the team, and that we're here to help you with whatever you may need. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Okay, do we have anybody else who would like to speak? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, that's public comments. Can I get a motion to move to accept Chris Scaglione and an appointment to the City of Dunnellon Police Chief?
I move that Chris Scaglione be appointed as City of Dunnellon's Police Chief.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Okay, do we have any discussion up here? Personally, I think we've all been around Chris now quite a few weeks and days and months. I know when this all started, I was fortunate enough to jump in with both feet and really get to know him. I can echo what both these folks have said, and I've only known the man 2 months. He's very professional. I don't have any problems with him taking this police department and making it as good as it can get. I'm very, very impressed with just how he does things. He calls me all the time when he has an issue. I text him, he calls me, we're back and forth. I think we're making a great choice. That's just my opinion, but I'd love to hear from all y'all.
Our tenant, he's been our tentative chief for a few months, and he's done more than asked. And also is exceedingly user-friendly. And he also loves horses, and anybody who loves horses has a great heart.
Okay, Rex, you got anything?
I just want to say I've only lived in Dunnellon for about 1.5 years, and I've been impressed with the police department. And I was in the audience when Chief McQuaid came in and made the statement. And the way that Chris stepped up right away and helped us get our feet back on the ground when the rug got pulled out because we were all caught by surprise. And reading his emails about what he's done, as somebody who's I worked for fire rescue for 32 years. I can see that he is a man who is, as you said, service oriented, and that's what makes a difference.
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Yes.
Julianne, you're good? Okay, got a motion, a second, get a vote, all in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. All right.
Did we get a statement?
Chris, I'm the one that's been designated to swear you in. Stop swearing at me already. I'm ready.
Chris Gaglione, do solemnly swear.
I, Chris Gaglione, do solemnly swear
I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and the government of the United States.
that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States
And the state of Florida against all enemies, domestic and foreign.
and the state of Florida against all enemies, domestic or foreign.
And that I will bear true faith, loyalty, and allegiance to the same.
And that I will bear truth, faith, loyalty, and allegiance to the same.
That I am entitled to hold office under the Constitution.
And that I am entitled to hold office under the Constitution.
That I will faithfully perform all duties of the chief of police for Dunnellon, Florida.
That I will faithfully perform all duties of Chief of Police for Dunnellon, Florida,
On which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God, and take obligations freely without any mental reservation.
So help me God. I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're gonna do a penny right here. Oh, yeah.
Try not to hurt.
Try to stab you.
Usually do it with the uniform off. I mean, on a hanger.
You did, all right.
Let's hold it together.
Yeah.
Cut me up.
I got a stapler.
There you go.
A few words. Thank you all very much. Thank you for putting your trust in me. We got some rebuilding to do and it's gonna happen really fast, so.
Thank you, Chris. All right. Good deal. Okay, let's go on to item number 7, agreement. AGR 2023-14, Florida Police Benevolent Association Collective Bargaining Agreement. Do I have any public comments? Guess not. Okay. Anything out there on Zoom or anything?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Do we have to read this?
No, sir.
We don't, we can just accept it, right?
You can just make a motion to.
Okay.
There's a proposed motion on your agenda.
Okay. Can I get a proposed motion on this item on the agenda?
You'll read it, Tim?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, here, I'll read it. Make a motion. I move the mayor to be authorized to sign agreement AGR 2023-14 FLPBA collective bargaining agreement.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Any discussion? We're all good?
I just want to thank Tim for the many, many hours that he spent in working with the city staff and the police to arrive at the agreement.
Yeah, actually, the thanks need to go to Mandy. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
just-
But thank you.
I just want to let most of the people know, because you were not at the workshop last Monday night where we spent, about 2 hours with Jan, Tim, and everybody in and the head of the bargaining unit for the police, and they explained all the numbers. And we were all in agreement and that the need to maintain a good pay scale so we can hire the officers we want. So it's all been researched.
Okay. Anybody else? I'm gonna make one comment. My only comment is kind of what I was pushing back on last week. First of all, I'm in agreement with this, this proposed motion. I want the people in the city of Dunnellon to recognize, like Rex, you just said, our police officers in Dunnellon went from being the lowest paid police officers in this area for a town of this size to the highest. So I don't want to hear anything about underpaid policemen, but I do think we have to do this to get good quality people here in this town. I recognize that. But I've been hearing for years that our police were underpaid. That was part of their gripe when they left. I think we have rectified that with this agreement, and that's all I got to say. Okay. All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Good. All right. Next, number 8, agreement number 1 to amendment number 1 to the parking agreement AGR 2018-29, Robert E. and what is that? Daily, Jewett Blue Gator. Do I have any public comments on this one? Okay. Anybody sign up or out front or anything? Okay. All right. Can I get a motion on this?
So moved.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this one? All I'll say is we have reviewed this parking agreement. It's been in place for a number of years, well, basically since 2018, 5 years, and we have raised the rent on this equal to inflation. Do I have any other discussion? Oh, good. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, number 9. Amendment number 1 to parking agreement AGR 2018-40. Ron, what is that? Garris? Okay. This is the parking area over off of 41. Do I have any public comments on this? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept this?
I move that the mayor be authorized to sign Amendment 1 to parking agreement ARG 2018-40 with Ronald Pierce as presented at the June 5th, 2023 workshop.
Okay. Again, just for the public to know, this was another parking agreement that was about to expire. It's been in force 5 years. Again, we're going to raise the rent. Cost of inflation, basically the same as we did there. In fact, it's by the same percentage. Do we have any discussion up here?
We need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I get a second? Okay. All right. Sorry, I missed that. Any discussion up here? Anybody? We're good? Okay. So we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Unanimous. Okay. Item number 10, resolution RES 20-23-08, charitable contributions. This is open for public comment. Is there any public comment? We're good.
Have one person left on Zoom and it's the captioner.
It's the who?
It's the captioner.
Okay. I won't ask him any forward. All right. Can I get a motion to go ahead?
I move resolution RES 2023-08 be read by title only.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion up here? Well, good. Okay. All right. We got a motion. My title, do you have to read this, Mandy? Yeah, I thought you did.
Resolution number RES 2023 contributions, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Okay, good deal. All right. Do I have a proposed motion to move that we approve this motion?
I move Res 2023-08 to be approved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Just for the public to understand what we have done, we all the time over the last few years and while we have been sitting here, get charitable contribution requests from a lot of different charities. This pretty much is to inform everybody that we will no longer make charitable contribution of public funds from the city of Dunnellon. Okay. All right, number 11, resolution RES 2023-09 proclamations. We have any public comment? Don't see any. All right. No, there's nobody out there. Okay. All right. Can I get a proposed motion to read this by title only?
I move that resolution 2023-09 be read by title only.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion up here? All good there. Okay. I guess we have to vote on that, don't we?
Resolution number RES 2023-09, a resolution of the city of Dunnellon creating city policy regarding proclamation requests, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Okay, good deal.
I
All
move-
right, go ahead.
I move resolution 2023-09 be approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? No. All right, for the public to understand this, what we're doing here is we get requests again for a lot of proclamations all the time from a lot of organizations. We will continue to do that, but we're going to limit it to local organizations and local events and local things. And the second part of this is if we're requested to do a proclamation, the one making the request, assuming we accept it, will have to provide us the wording of this because this does take quite a bit of time for the staff to write the wording for a proclamation. Okay. All right. Oh, all right. Number 12, resolution RES 2023-10 council meeting and workshop schedule. Do we have any public comment? Yeah, well, it's really a correction of something that was done already where we had some wording kind of messed up. So we're just going back and correcting that wording. Okay, do we have any public comment? Doesn't appear that we do. Okay, do I have a proposed motion to read in title only?
I move resolution 2023-10 to be read by title only.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All good? All in favor? I guess, man, you got to read it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Resolution? Well, no, you need a vote for me to read it. Go ahead.
Okay. All in favor of resolution 2023-10 to be read in by title only?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Resolution number RES 2023-10, a resolution of the city council of the city of Dunnellon setting forth the time and place of its meetings, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Okay.
I move resolution 2023-10 be approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Again, this was we did this and what it basically did was change our workshop meetings and our regular meetings. Workshops are on Monday, regular meetings are on Wednesday, but they're a week apart. There was some wording in that resolution when it was done that wasn't right. So this just corrects that wording. Okay, number 13, salary adjustments. Mr. NC.
Okay, we went through all the math and where the money's coming from for all these rates. And basically, in a nutshell, what we're looking to do with this first vote is to adjust immediately the everybody that's under $14 an hour. I'm sorry, everybody that's under $15 an hour and bring them up immediately to $15 an hour, and that would be 3, 4, 5 positions. The money for this year's budget is in there because of all the vacancies that we have. The issue is public works, same issue we had with the police department. We're not able to hire anybody of any of the quality that we're looking for $12.75 an hour. And so we want to raise the hiring wage to 15. We want to bring the present service worker, that is a service worker 1 right now, to service worker 2, as of his anniversary. Well, and those would be as of immediately, to $16 and basically 12 cents. Then the other 3 positions would be the 2 hiring positions that we're looking at, bring them from $12.75 to $15. The part-time AP clerk from $14.75 to $15. The working coordinator, which from $14.78 to $15, and the police department staff assistant from $14 to $15. Should we vote separately, Mandy, on the ones we want to do now immediately versus the ones we want to do in October? My other question about the October one is, do we want to do that during the budget process or do that now?
Essentially, you will be approving the October 1 salaries in the budget.
Okay.
When you approve the budget, you'll be approving those salaries.
That's
So
what,
you would just, if you're going to make the initial adjustment effective immediately, you would need to make a motion, which includes the date. If it's June 15th, it's June 15th.
okay,
Or today. I mean, you have to decide what date you want to make that effective, if you want to make it effective July 1st, but I know you, as one of the council members, has said that you wanted it to become effective immediately.
right,
So-
for these positions, right?
Yeah. So that would require a motion tonight to make that effective immediately. And the other piece of that we worked on would be incorporated into the budget approval.
That's kind of where I was going to. Okay, cool. Thank you. So I make a motion that the positions that we just mentioned that are below $15 an hour be raised to $15 an hour. The service worker that's presently a service worker 1 becomes a service worker 2. And that position is paid $16.12 an hour.
Okay. I have a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to finish the motion. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Effective tomorrow, immediately. I'm not sure how to do that one.
I mean, if immediately, when everybody comes to work tomorrow, they'll be at the new rate.
Fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? We all good up here?
Council, you just do need to take public comment.
All right, I just remembered that when I asked. Does anybody in the public have a comment about these pay raises? What we're trying to do is get everybody at least to $15 an hour. Is there any public comment on that? Yes, David.
Dave Porter, 11835 East Blue Cove Drive in Dunnellon. It's associated with pay wages and stuff like that. I encourage you, because you've looked at this so much, to continue and finish it. So we have some open positions as far as the manager of planning, community development, code enforcement. And those positions historically have been open for long periods of time. And we can't get quality people or qualified people, which
Right.
indicates with Dunnellon being a very nice place to live and an excellent staff to work with, that it must be pay. So I think you've done an excellent job of looking at all the wages. Let's finish the job. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay, any discussion up here? We all good? Okay. All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it passes. I do agree with David. I think as we go through this process with the rest of the staff, we've got to take a hard look at the pay that we've been paying all of our staff members. We've addressed the police. We're starting to address the very low end of the scale. I think we have to face the facts that, like you said, David, we're not getting quality applicants for these positions. We need to look at everyone's pay here in this town and get it to the right number. Okay. All right. Did you have anything else?
No, sir.
You're good. All right. Department head reports.
have one thing I need to talk to you all about. Typically, whenever the city council schedules a special meeting, it's on a specific subject,
Mhm.
and we don't deviate from that. You follow your normal meeting protocol. You don't typically allow people to come and be added to the agenda to make presentations and whatnot.
Right.
However, I have been asked to discuss this with you about any future short-term rental special workshops. Miss Katie Geis has asked to be placed on a future agenda as a presenter so that she is allowed more than 3 minutes to talk. So I just need some guidance from you on whether or not you will.
I'm sorry, Mandy, who's sing?
Katie Geis.
Katie Dunn.
Katie Geis. Katie Geis.
Oh, Katie Geis. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Y'all have any comments on that?
My comment around with the whole short-term rental thing is we need to go through this process first, to understand the rules, what we think, as a council and staff input, attorney input. The rules first, what we agree to, then, how it's going to be administered, who's going to do what, flow chart, org chart, and then associate expenses with all of that. And then after all that is done, seems to me would be the time for presentations and stuff like that. Because right now, we don't even know what it's going to look like. And so people are going to be speculating what it might look like. And I just see that using up time that when we don't even know what we have yet. Once we know what this animal looks like, then it'll be time to listen to everybody where they have problems with it, et cetera, and then we can adjust from there.
Okay.
I'd like to make a comment, and that is, I disagree with Tim. I think the public can get educated through their fellow residents here, and we should give people an opportunity to input.
I'll speak to that next.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that planning commission chair had shared with us that the majority of the planning meetings were spent taking feedback from both the short-term rental owners and the residents. And I was at those meetings, and there was an overwhelming amount of feedback that was taken at that time.
Mhm.
So I see what Tim is saying about, we're not even quite sure what we have yet. And the most recent comments we've gotten, when we went through the last workshop, it was, I don't know, a little bit disappointing to me that the comments that we got afterwards were about all the things that we didn't talk about. So we talked about the first half of the ordinance, and all the public comment was about the second half of the ordinance. So I agree that we're getting a lot of feedback, and even outside of city meetings, emails, things that people are sharing, it's about the cost, it's about a lot of different things that we haven't even had the opportunity to speak to yet. I think if we do grant one person 7 to 10 minutes to make comment, that we do run the risk then of having a lot more people from both sides of the coin come and want to do that. And I'm really, interested in keeping these special workshops focused. So I would tend to agree that there has been a lot of public input, and there definitely will be opportunities for that after we get the ordinance situated.
I'd like to respond. I'd like to ask our attorney his thoughts on this. It is an open meeting. Does the public not have the right to input?
What Florida,
comments?
I'm sorry?
I said it's going to be an open meeting. Therefore, doesn't the public have the right to make comment, even in the form of a presentation, 10 minutes?
What Florida law requires is that public comment on any decision item be taken somewhere along the process. So if it's going through the planning board, at some point there has to be public comment. You can have workshops and take no public comment as long as before the decision is made, that there is an opportunity for public comment. So when you're having a special workshop, public comment does not need to be taken at a special workshop. That's at the election of city council. If city council wants to take it. It does need to be taken somewhere before the decision is made. So this is completely within the realm of discretion of city council, when and how they want to take public comment. The fact of the matter is, once this ordinance gets to first and second reading, that's when public comment has to be taken. One of the things I'll point out too is if this ordinance is substantially modified, as council is discussing doing, and whatever direction council goes in that case, it will need to go back to planning, not for another whole workshop series, but at least for a review for comprehensive plan consistency. And at that point in time, public comment will be taken there too, because that's a decision for the planning commission. So you do have junctures where public comment is required to be taken. How city council operates during the workshops, whether or not and to what extent you want to take public comment, as long as it's in line with your policies, you can proceed accordingly. So to answer your question, Councilwoman Cubbage, yes, public comment absolutely has to be taken, but council does have some discretion as to how and when to take it.
Thank you.
Just has to be in the decision process.
Okay. Rex, are you gonna?
Okay, I'd just like to ask Jan a question. Jan, every business that's in Dunnellon has to register and get a license. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, I'm in charge of working at the short-term rentals. This is called an ordinance, but basically it comes down to two areas. One is the registration, getting the license, and two, what we want to do, what we want in the license pertaining to occupancy and parking and other things as required by state law. So the first part of it is, if we don't put an ordinance in requiring them to get registered, then we've excluded every other business who's got who we are making get a license. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Well, are you talking this tax receipt?
No, the business to register your business to work in Dunnellon, you've got to get some kind of registration, right?
The business tax receipt. Now,
Yeah.
that being said, when it comes to short-term rentals, per the city's business tax receipt
Right.
ordinance, business tax receipts need to be issued for situations where an individual, company, et cetera, some sort of entity has two or more. So if you have according to Dunnellon's current code, if there is a single short-term rental, Dunnellon's ordinance does not require that. And there's an issue with changing the city's ordinance because that's essentially been frozen pursuant to state law and preempted. So the city can keep what's on the books, but changing the law is problematic when it comes to business tax receipts.
Right.
New
But-
classes can't be opened.
Okay, so just so I'm clear though, a business has to register to do business in Dunnellon and get something for the taxes or something.
Well, it's not a registration.
Yeah.
That's a tax, a business tax. It used to be called an occupational license. And it was more of and this is a long time ago, but it was more like a registration. Now it's just simply a tax. And if that's paid, unless a business is doing business in Cuba, a business tax receipt has to be issued. So it's only payment of a tax, not a registration.
Okay.
What's going through or what's being considered with short-term rentals, anytime that an individual has two or more, they're going to have to get a business tax receipt. But the registration process is different. And on top of that business tax receipt is just an exchange
Okay,
of
I
money
just wanted to
for a piece of
clarify
paper.
Okay. Because I've been talking to fire marshals and stuff. I've got some more information for all of you. I've sent some of it to Mandy to put out so that we have a clearer idea. So, and I did call today to find out how many other municipalities in Marion County are working on starting these kind of ordinance, and evidently we're one of the first because we've got one of the largest draws.
If I
Yes.
could just interject, I definitely appreciate the conversation, but if we could stick to the
Okay,
subject of
I understand.
public comments versus special presentations, I think that.
I think that would.
But it
be-
is a great conversation to have at the July, to have
At
a
the-
broader conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliana.
Yeah, I was thinking we're getting a little bit
Okay,
off here,
yes,
but that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I have just a couple things.
Oh, hold on a minute.
Oh. We want to get to the end of the request for the
Okay, all right,
special.
we can do that.
I'm a liaison with Southwest Florida Water Management District. And I would like to make a presentation at our next workshop.
Okay, we're still talking about this right here, right now.
This
Oh.
started with.
We're trying to
Miss
figure
Katie
out whether we're
Geis.
gonna let somebody speak at a special meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right now.
Right.
On department head reports.
Right.
And I have this issue that I need some guidance from you on. as to
Okay.
Whether or not you will allow us to add people requesting special presentations to a special workshop agenda.
Okay. I would like to have a vote on that. So would somebody please make a motion? Do we want to allow someone to make a presentation at a special workshop on one particular item?
The mayor, just
Of
a note
10
before
minutes.
A motion should take public comment on that. if
Oh,
so
okay.
It's going to be taken up. as
Okay.
business.
Do I have any public comment?
So Wally, just to clarify, what we're trying to discern is whether it's going to be 7 to 10 minutes on a special presentation or the standard 3 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
But this party is asking, I believe, for asking permission for it to present a presentation, which is more than the standard.
Yeah,
Time limit
she
for
wants 10
minutes.
minutes. I got it.
And that's what we're trying to discern
Right.
right now.
Okay.
I can make a suggestion if you would like me to.
I would just soon get a unanimous decision or not unanimous decision on whether we're going to allow somebody to speak at a special commission, special meeting.
Well, okay, you go ahead.
Okay. Personally, I don't think we should, but that's just me. But because she'll have plenty later to do it, but I want to get a vote on this. So I have a motion.
Okay. I make a motion that we not allow special presentations during the workshops.
Special workshop.
Special workshop.
Special workshop.
Right. Okay. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of not allowing a presentation at a special workshop of any subject?
Can we continue to do some discussion?
Sure.
Carte blanche, no, was never my intent anyways. At a certain point, when we have everything that we stated before in place, I would be willing to listen to what either side has to say, just not while we're going through the process of trying to figure out what's what.
I have one more comment also. I think because of the letter that this party has sent to council, I think you're showing prejudice against her.
How so, Jan?
No, I think she's spoken for
Kate-
hours in the planning
Kate-
group, so she doesn't need to speak now.
Sent the letter and the kind of like a mini spreadsheet on
I
what she
received
would
it.
believe the expenses associated with implementing short-term rental ordinance. And I think you're showing prejudice against her because we know where you all stand.
I want to say, Jan, that I appreciate you speaking on the short-term rental subject at this time. And I hope that you'll join us at the next special
I
workshop
intend to.
so that you
Yes.
can talk a little bit about how you're feeling about it. Because when you leave, we can't have the conversation. I received the spreadsheet. This group has not reviewed anything about financial responsibilities yet. So while we can look at the spreadsheet in the email, and we can definitely take that into account for our conversation, I think that we really run a risk of going sideways if we have people from the public now starting to present spreadsheets and ideas of the cost and we have thoughts about cost. They're worked into the ordinance, and we need an opportunity to present that to the public before the public starts inundating us with their feelings on it. So I feel strongly that we need to, and I hope that Katie Geis and others would understand that if we can put the whole ordinance out and talk about it, that at that time it would be appropriate for a special presentation. Right now, we're getting a lot of feedback on things that we haven't even had the opportunity to discuss as a council. So we're not shutting people out. We're just saying, hey, could you let us have another meeting to speak and then we'll take your feedback. Thank you.
Right. And I'd like to add, Jan, I'm not biased one way or another. I don't know what this animal looks like, except for the portion that we went through last week. So I don't have enough information to vote one way or another. I just want to go through the process, see how it falls out, because I really don't know which way I'm gonna go.
Okay, as long as I understand that this council will allow people to continue input.
We're
Yes,
required to
we
do
have
so, and
to.
we would always.
No,
do
we
so.
will, we will,
Okay, talking about in the form of a presentation
Oh.
or.
whatever they want to do.
Right. Once we understand what it's about, and they may understand more, may take care of some of their, whichever side, may take care of either side's, may answer some of their questions or concerns once we've gone through this thing.
And here's my point. It's not about me personally. And if you're disagreeing with me, that's fine. It's about conversing with this person is what you're doing now. And I hope they understand your decision and our decision.
Right. I actually
Thank you.
called Katie Geis, okay, and explained my position to her over the weekend,
Okay.
actually Monday. Okay,
Right.
and explained my thoughts to need to get through this process because
Right.
we don't even understand what it looks like. And everything just mentioned right here, mentioned to Katie. I don't want to speak for Katie, but she understood and I walked away with, she even agreed, you know, some of.
I've been in communication with her as well.
Me too.
You know,
You guys
so,
are great.
yeah, so we're reaching out to those that,
Talk to Katie.
right,
Yeah,
we're
I
reaching
think I
out to
have.
those that are reaching out to us.
Right.
You know, just trying to let them understand where we're at in the process. And what Katie actually asked me if maybe it would help if we kind of laid out the process at the next meeting. Hey, you know, kind of like what we just did with budget stuff, you know, this meeting here, we intend on looking at this, then we're gonna look at this, and here's the process. So I'll try to get something worked up before that, get it out to Mandy. So we can explain to everybody, here's where we're going. And at some point in there, it probably will make sense to even say, at this point, we'll take public comments, presentations, et cetera. And then everybody can take a look at it, then, and tweak it, do whatever, everybody sees fit.
Okay.
I agree with all this discussion. I personally agree that we don't even know what this ordinance is going to look like yet. And we haven't even gotten through it. I think we as a council, I know me personally, have numerous versions of this. I'm going to start reading all the case law on both sides of this to understand where the issues are, who's getting sued, why they're getting sued, and what the outcome of those cases are. I think we all need to come up with, all right, from A to Z, are we going to have an ordinance and what does it look like? And we come to an agreement. Once we come to an agreement, like Andrew said, we're going to have to send this back, I can tell you, to planning and zoning to get their input. The public would have time to speak there, and then the public will have time to speak after they see what our ordinance even looks like. But for them to come in the middle when we haven't even got an ordinance, I don't think adds anything. It's just going to delay the conversation. And I want to get through this because I either want to have an ordinance or not have an ordinance, but I want to get through it so we know where we're going. And until the public knows what our ordinance is or what we're trying to do and understands it, I don't think they can come in and ask questions because they really don't know what to ask. They're going to ask questions, but we not even put that in the ordinance. So I'd rather them see the ordinance, then come in. We will absolutely allow the public to speak. And if we have 2 or 3 people that want to do presentations, we'll do a special workshop and give them all time to do their presentations. But I think the next presentation or next workshop we have on short-term rentals ought to be with us. So we get through the rest of this. Like you said, we got through about half of it. I hope the next one we can get through the rest of it. And then pick and choose what we like, pick and choose what we don't like, come up with something and then move on. Okay. So my answer to your starting question was, do we want to allow her to speak at a next special workshop on short-term rentals at this time?
May want to clarify that because we really shouldn't single out Katie.
No, anybody.
Right, but we said her.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to mince words.
No.
I just want to make sure everybody understands. The other thing I'd like everybody to understand is the they is either whoever's on either side of this coin,
Right.
all around the coin or in anything. There's no, the they is everybody.
Right.
Basically,
no matter who made the request.
Right.
Correct.
If somebody comes in here and they don't have an opinion one way or another, but they want to make a presentation at a special workshop.
Right.
Are you going to allow that?
That's what it basically is.
My answer is no.
Because your special workshops now.
It's for a special subject.
But the past councils have been very adamant. When they schedule a special workshop, they want it to be for them to hash out and talk about and vet whatever it is that they've got on the agenda and not a lot of time be taken up by a special presentation. So I just want to make sure that you are of that same mindset.
Yes, ma'am.
I am.
I am.
But that, again, I want to make everybody understand that's out there in Zoom land or listening to this. That's not to say this council will not take your opinions and not allow you to speak, because we will. But while we're trying to work through this ordinance, which is going to be I see coming up, very complex, and decide we leave this in, we take this out, whatever we do. I like what you said about the prior councils. We don't allow you to speak until we get through, come up with something, then you can come in and speak all you want.
Right now, they would have 3 minutes.
Right.
And if at some point in the future, you have the discretion.
Mhm.
You get to a point and you say, okay, I know you guys got a lot to say.
Right.
Can't say it in 3 minutes. I'm gonna give everybody 5 minutes.
Right. Right. We can do
You
that.
have that discretion.
We can do that. I'm all for that. Okay. So I would say no to a 10-minute conversation. Anything else?
Something else.
Okay.
Dan?
Any other department head?
The budget workshop, the next budget workshop's July 3rd at 3 p.m.
July 3rd. How dare you? Right before the 4th.
And you could just chew on what we discussed at that meeting.
I'm
You have
kidding.
a whole day off and fireworks.
We're gonna need a day off, but that's good. I totally get it. Got it. Okay. Okay. Chad?
Chad, microphone. Thank you.
All the blue run signs ordered, 21 in total. We should receive them next week. They're being finished. Check that off. City Hall entrance exit signs are put up. The do not enter and one-way signs are in.
Look great.
Next week, we're going to start painting the curb stops out there, the stops, and working on the directional arrow signs and some possibly the parking lines. It's on the agenda.
Good.
For now, it's on the agenda. All solar panels for the security cameras are installed and all working. So I have them done. We down at the city beach. We relocated the do not feed gator signs and be aware of gator signs. Because of where they was at. City beach is back open now. We decided to make that decision yesterday to open the beach. And the moss and stuff's been cleared out. The gators, the troubled gator seems to be absent. So we haven't any issues with him. He hasn't been coming up. He hasn't been chasing anybody. So we're good there for now.
Good.
Did Ernie Mills park cleanup with the volunteers. So got most of that weeded. The exterior buildings that face the park and stuff's been pressure washed, cleaned, and the bluebird boxes were installed. You guys gave me a couple of assignments last workshop. We was checking on city-owned properties. Found out we have 32 parcels in the city that we own. 5 of them, 32. I have a list. So got my time, I'm done. But we do own 32 parcels. In the city, which we have 5 structures on that are eligible for fire inspections. Fire inspections have not been done on them. One of the issues was the art center, so I reached out to Marion County Fire. I talked with Mr. John Kenny. He's a fire inspector. I asked him when the last inspection was done on that building. Said they've never done inspection ever on the building. Ask him about the other ones. As far as he can recall, there hasn't been inspections on them. In the city of Dunnellon, we have 218 commercial buildings. And he said as of 3 years ago, Florida established a law that buildings need inspection. I asked him about ours, when inspections will be done. He said, as of now, they do not have the manpower to do that. They do not have the program in place, but they're working on that to get that established. But it's kind of concerning to me that all of them is not being done. Let's see.
So Chad, is there a vehicle that we can request the 5 city-owned buildings to request somehow in writing, a form, whatever they have?
And what the procedure was to request to that, he said Kelly actually has a form to request a fire inspection. It's at $40 per building. Cost would be to us, to being our buildings. For the first inspection, and if there's a re-inspection, it'd be additional $40 for that inspection also.
Chad, is there a provision in there since they're undermanned and they can't do the inspections where we could contact a source and have a licensed source that we could refer people to?
I'd have to ask Mandy a number. I believe you guys could hire any fire inspector to do inspections in the state of Florida, but if you Florida state certified.
Yeah.
But I believe it might be part of our contract with them that they provide that, but I don't know if they have to provide having them do it.
I know, but the problem is if they don't have the manpower to do it for all of our buildings, could we then have a backup state board of certified fire inspector that we could refer them to?
We don't, that I know of. I know we just use Marion Fire as permitting and stuff like that to do inspections upon request as now because of their low manpower.
Would it be reasonable to submit the forms for our 5 buildings and then see what they come back with once we submit the forms official? You know, a phone call is one thing. It's kind of easy to say we don't have the manpower and stuff, but when they receive a form, then we should receive something back at that point, kind of officially, and then we can regroup and go from there.
I think being the properties are the city and Andrew would test to it, but I think we're legally obligated to have inspections and make sure the building's
Right,
safe, exit lights, emergency, and everything's
right,
ready to go.
right. So if we do the formal request and then we'll see what the result is and then go from there. And just for our 5 city buildings, then we'll figure out the rest of the city later.
If you want me to go back to the earlier discussion, what we were talking about with the agreement, the section 4 specifically states fire prevention services. County shall provide fire prevention services within the corporate limits of city. These activities include fire safety inspections, plans review, fire code enforcement, and other associated fire prevention services. So it goes on to say county has sole authority as the authority having jurisdiction regarding state laws, the Florida Fire Prevention Code, and fire safety related local ordinances. City shall collect and remit fees to county on a monthly basis for fire prevention services on behalf of county at rates established by the county. So what that tells me is that they will do it for us, but they will probably require payment.
Gotcha. And what I noticed in the budget is we have a line item in there. I don't remember what it was, 3,000, 4,000, something like that for fire under our buildings and stuff, I believe. Gotcha. I couldn't remember the number. Okay. Your budget?
Not for city buildings.
But
There's fire safety inspections, for community development. But we don't have a specific plan to protect our buildings.
Okay.
That was put in Chad's budget. Under building repair.
Okay, maybe that's what I see. I got it confused. I'll take a look at it and come back.
That's something we need to add. To get it on now.
80, 160, 200.
Fire department, city hall, the art center, hospital building.
But I think being city owns by the city, I think we're obligated to have them
Right.
inspected to make sure all
Yeah.
the systems.
It sounds like we're looking at $200,
No, it's $40 inspection.
right? 40 times 5.
Every inspection if we have to make adjustments.
Right,
Just,
right.
just give me a list.
Right.
Code it. next version that I produce.
Right. Okay.
The last thing that I have is.
Before we get off of that one, I just want to throw a caution out there. We very well could be opening up Pandora's box too, once they do the inspection. So be ready.
I think you're opening up either way if you don't do it.
I agree with you. No,
Yeah.
you're right. I agree with you. Right.
No, I think
We have to follow the law. We don't have a choice.
Right.
But you know, you can't be surprised if all of a sudden we fail something.
Right.
And-
Okay.
So should we go ahead and budget for repairs just in case?
Might want to consider that.
Right.
Also, one of the things was we wanted to do a check on the Arts Center. One of the discussions was the roof being replaced. Roof was never replaced. There was no damage to the roof. It's air conditioning, there's
That's what
sweating,
you said, yeah.
leaking in the tile, so that stuff was replaced. And also we contacted 3 companies on painting the exterior of that building.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have all 3 quotes to us by next week, so
Okay.
we can compare that to what we'd have them do or if we did it ourselves. Believe that's wraps up mine.
Before we move on from Chad, I have to brag a little bit. I have to tell y'all something because it's so near and dear to my heart. This is what the
Oh,
sign
yeah.
looked like before. This was your entrance sign at City Hall. Here was your exit sign at City Hall. And I think when this picture was taken, it had both sides and before Chad took them down, it only had one side. And this is what's out there now.
Yeah.
I see it's working too. I saw a boat going right down that.
I did. Well, I saw them come in and then go back out.
So if nobody had noticed the signs yet, I really wanted y'all to see what a great job. that
They came in the entrance, but they went out the entrance. Whatever.
They just had.
Okay.
Always have something.
All right. I know we got bigger fish to fry, but we are at like 350 some permits processed for the year so far. And we
Great.
still have a few months to go. I think last year we didn't even make it out of even to the mid 300s.
Right. Great.
Talking back to the priority project list that I had sent y'all previously, I have reprioritized some things and I need to get fee schedule updated. So there will be an ordinance coming
Okay.
to cover the cost of all the services that get done. And restructuring community development. Obviously, we have lots of options that we need to put on paper and present to you. And I'm hoping to do that next month. Working on the current zoning future land use map, just to be sure, because it's a little wonky and it is an act of Congress to call the company and actually get them to update that map. Boundary lines are off. There's just various things. FEMA flood maps aren't accurate on everything. So we need to get that resolved. FEMA floodplain administrator thing will come after we figure out the restructuring of community development and who that responsibility should lie with. I do need guidance from y'all though, because I started working on the holiday event, last priority here. To reserve things that we need for December events, to Tim's point earlier, should be budgeting a year ahead for that kind of thing. So deposit money that needs to be given out this fiscal year to start reserving things. I don't believe it's in the budget. I don't know that we even have anywhere we could pull it from, but food for thought if we can come up with a way to make that happen. Otherwise, we're waiting till the last minute and then we don't get anything.
Right.
And that's just people walking around.
Yeah. All right.
And that's all I have.
So
Oh.
Kelly, with the holiday thing kind of imminent, are you going to bring back some ideas or numbers or, I don't know, just thoughts?
Well, and Sharon at Public Works is helping with this and she's called around and gotten quotes for things like buses and stuff. But the conversation kind of stopped when they said, 50% deposit. I don't even know if that's feasible. So we were like, thank you. Have a nice day.
I need to figure out how we can get that resolved before we can even move forward on that. Yes, I'll bring quotes to you in July for the items and the layout of what we have planned.
Okay, because I think the
Um,
last 2 years we saw the Santa in the park and that was successful in some ways.
Mhm.
It was planned very last minute.
Mhm.
So, I think we're in a tough situation being going into July
Mhm.
with Christmas. And I know I said it in another meeting that we might be bare bones for a year.
Right.
Until we can get ahead of it. So I'll look forward to the conversation on that.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Chief?
Oh, chief, yeah.
First item, chairs we can fit in.
have special chairs back there that don't have arms for them, just for those who wear the.
All right, I'm gonna find them. The other side.
Yeah, you gotta sit on this side.
With the police department, everything's going good. Thank you all very much for everything you did today, the pay raises for the people that we're getting to come in. That's gonna be critical for us. Evidence room is completed. The sheriff department will be giving us a little memo about what they found. And if you all want it, I will share it with you once it comes out. Other than that, things are going good. I think I've been in contact with y'all so much that you're pretty much up to date. So anybody have any questions for me?
I do
right now.
No.
When are we getting the mounted patrol?
It is, she has the budget. Already in there.
How are we doing? How are we doing for officers for hiring people? How many we got and what are our prospects?
We just did probably, I want to say roughly around 8 interviews. We got probably 4 offer letters that are gonna go out tomorrow. And that's really, we got some good candidates recommended to go through. The only thing is the other ones have no experience.
Yeah.
So we're looking to see if we get some experience right now, just because it's gonna take some time to train people right directly out of the academy.
Right.
But we're looking at it and see what we got, and we got a deadline in our head that we're shooting to meet. So the sheriff department doesn't have to be here forever.
Okay.
So,
Just an idea, it's, since we're gonna have a lot of inexperienced people, and I know y'all wanna get out of here, but Key Biscayne had their own fire department, and they got one run a day. So they had a reciprocal deal with the city where they would send their rescue crews to our station, and our guys go down there to rest. Would there be any way that maybe we could work out a switch with Marion County to where our officers could ride over there and get some of their more extensive training and then come back over here for a couple shifts?
I will answer that to you with a one-on.
Okay, just an idea. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Glad you're aboard full time.
Me too.
All right. All right, let's see. We got council liaison reports and comments.
I can start.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm the liaison for Southwest Florida Water Management District. Southwest Florida Water Management District is managing 88 acres at this time within the Dunnellon city limits. Okay, and this was the former Gissy Ranch property in 2019. He sold to Swift Mud in a real quick deal, 111 acres for $4.2 million. Swift Mud, within 6 months, deeded that property. I should say Florida DEP deeded that property to Rainbow Springs State Park. Okay, and this is the property, a very small part of it fronts 484. But if you turn left on 190th Avenue Road, which is opposite, what is the name of that road? The one that goes to the baseball field. Yeah, thank you very much. Bridges, South Bridges.
Right.
And if you go, okay, so if you're leaving Dunnellon, you turn left at South Bridges, you'll be on 190th Avenue Road. And it's 107-acre parcel. Now, part of the deal when they transferred that property and deeded it to Rainbow Spring State Park, there was an addendum or attachment, strangely enough, that said that Southwest Florida Water Management District would manage 88 acres of that property. Southwest Water Management District wants to be in the longleaf pine plantation business, apparently, because for 4.5 years, they've been trying to kill the Bahia and coastal Bermuda grass.
Yeah.
And this is pretty astounding. They have spent $170,000 on herbicides and disking on that 88 acres. And why should we be concerned? Because we're kind of like the watchman over the Rainbow River. That property slopes like that into the wetlands along the Rainbow River. There's been they've denuded the property except for weeds. And the weeds are not holding the soil together. It's blowing away. There's erosion out there. And the other thing about this whole thing, and I'm going to try to say this fast because I know everybody's butts are getting sore, is that we were denied, the city of Dunnellon was denied a required workshop and hearing with Florida Parks and Recreation. When the state of Florida, DEP, buys a property that becomes a state park and it is within a community, they are required to give the community a workshop with literally a committee. They want representatives from the community to meet with representatives from Florida DEP, because the community, and it's all online, is supposed to give input as to how that property might be utilized in a low environmental impact situation. Okay, so Dale Burns, okay, was mayor, and he sent a letter asking for the time and date of the meeting. And I made repeated requests for the meeting. Daniel Albritton was the director of Florida Parks and Recreation at the time. I have a slew of emails asking him, when are we going to have the meeting? And he refused to answer. Okay, so this gets complicated. And if you go online, they have a list of requirements that the state is Florida DEP is supposed to follow through when park property is bought within a community. So I don't know if you want to go anywhere with this, ask questions. And we're going to get with Rainbow River Conservation, because I don't see where Swift-Mud is using taxpayers' money wisely in this effort to make pasture land into a longleaf pine restoration. And the deal is, you can't plant a seedling that will survive unless you kill all the Bahia and the coastal grass. And the idea is to kill all that grass and plant, quote, wiregrass, and then put the seedlings in. Well, they've been playing around with this property for 5 years and they don't have the first seedling in. I have concerns. It's crazy.
Jan, do you have any suggestions on next steps? Like, I'm just trying to.
I know it's a long story.
Jen, I don't understand. I know what you're talking about. Okay. The property I hunt, well, I know about that property because it's right up the river from my house. But, we have areas in Georgia I hunt that are pines. And when they come out in timber, the first thing they do, because of the issue with all the undergrowth, they burn everything. They don't use herbicide. They just burn it. And the temperature usually gets hot enough, you can take care of that. And then they immediately, though, plant the new trees. They don't wait years.
That's my concern too.
Yeah.
The amount of herbicides and what they're using, you all know what Roundup is, right?
Right.
They're
no.
using something a whole lot worse. They're using
Yeah.
a mix of Roundup and 2,4-D, and 2,4-D is it's a top of the chart, that and dicambra, probably using that too. It's literally outlawed in most areas that if it's near a waterway, you're not supposed to use it.
Right. No, I agree. Okay.
Total disregard. Go figure, Southwest Florida Water Management District. So I don't know.
They're supposed to.
You don't want to get together and write a inquiry letter and have one of the representatives come here.
Might want to have them explain.
You're a great writer, Jan. If you wrote the letter, we would
I-
review it.
Yeah, and council can review the letter and
Yeah.
I want to put it on the grill. And again, this is taxpayer money.
Right.
And then there's that issue about we never got our public hearing workshop.
No,
Says you have to have it. It's online at their site.
right. Well, that might be an answer. If you could write
Yeah, like
a
get some
letter and bring it
answers
to
from
us and let's all review it and the
Yeah.
whole council sign it. I mean, I'm like you, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it'd be a great opportunity to educate ourselves and the public.
Right, right.
Thanks, Jan.
Okay,
And bring them in here so we can hear from them.
right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Anybody else got a liaison report? Well, good.
Just real fast, Michelle and I met with the tourist development lady, that group, right? And they have a very nice app that they're putting out to advertise everything. I don't have the name of the app now.
There's some
Yeah.
pamphlets on the table.
Yeah. But she also said that they're working on a grant, a bunch of grant money, right? I think it was 75. Have they approved that? Do you know?
She said that they were going to discuss it at the meeting for approval.
But anyway, they're looking at a bunch, say $75,000 of grants that anybody can apply for to use to promote their public.
Businesses, it's for promotion for business. I believe that she said it was $5,000 each.
Yeah.
It was available to all Marion County, anyone in Marion County. It was not specific to any area. And the total funding was $75,000. And she just wanted to make sure it got utilized so that next year she can ask for twice as much.
Good.
Has Judy Terwilliger been informed of
She
this?
was at the meeting, yes, ma'am. Yeah, Judy's at the meetings when we meet.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And this is something that businesses could apply for on their own, independent of anything that's happening here.
Totally independent
Okay.
of the city.
Great.
When it is up and running, she stated that they would have links on their website for
Okay.
people to go in and fill out the application and such. But it was something that we could promote to people. It's, it's to help people have signage in different places to bring them in, like, so Dunnellon businesses could pay for signage and put it in Ocala on 200 and to draw people into our community is really the intent of it.
Gotcha.
Right. Okay. Good deal. I have one thing. We've talked around it most of the night. I want to request another short-term rental meeting at y'all's convenience. And I would hope we could do it sometime the rest of this month, all this month's getting away from it.
Just council, I will not be here. As a reminder, 19, 20, and 21, I'll be at my FACC conference.
Right. Okay.
28th. Well, the only trouble is then we have a meeting the following Monday.
Yeah, no, I would like to try to do it next week, but it's got to be a week from today.
Oh, you can do it while I'm gone. I'm just.
No, I get that. What I'm saying is we could do it on the 21st, except you won't be here. If that works with everybody else.
That's fine.
Does that doesn't work for you?
I'm sorry, what date did you say?
21st, but that doesn't work for you.
No, I
Day of
have a
the week
meeting.
is that?
I have another liaison meeting, the
We know.
21st
Okay.
at 5:30.
What about 22nd?
22nd, I'm good.
22nd?
We're talking July, right?
No, June.
Oh, we're talking June?
June.
What's the date?
22nd, it's the Thursday.
I can do the 22nd.
Now, I think that's your birthday, so don't come.
Can't be later than that.
I'll do this bigger.
No, seriously. But I do think we gotta have another meeting. And my goal would be to finish what we started.
That gives you a whole week before your next meeting.
Do 26.
26 works for me.
27th.
Work for y'all?
I can do 26.
All right, we'll do it on 26. What time y'all want to start?
Early.
Early, 4:30?
Yep.
Okay. 5, 4:30? Julianne, what works for you?
Well, I can do 4:30.
4:30. All right. I just want to make sure we get it down. That'd be 4:30, because I would hope, and I know y'all are like me, trying to read all this stuff and get as knowledgeable about it all, because every time I read something, I get
You have a pen there that writes. this
different
one,
opinions,
don't
but I'd like to hope we can get through this.
Yeah.
Like you said, we got the first half, but everybody's asking us about the second half, because that's the most important stuff. So I know I'm gonna do a lot of reading between now and then. Okay,
I have a couple of things, Wally.
sure.
Kelly, on your priority list, were you asking for help prioritizing? Like, do we need to set up at least
I think I got a handle on the prioritization. It was more of getting on your radar so we can have a conversation probably at the July meeting with direction on, are we allowed to do deposits? If so, where's money coming from? And if not, fine, I know what I'm dealing with. I just need to know what I'm dealing
Gotcha.
with. So I
Yeah,
can,
I was talking about the whole list in general.
oh,
I didn't know if we need to have you as part of a workshop, if you were asking for help prioritizing what we thought. or-
no.
Okay, I
Um,
just didn't want to leave you hanging to where
I
I'm
mean,
at.
there was a lot more on that I think you guys read on your own way back when I sent this that I'm not going to bring up now. I just brought up the top 5 things
Right.
that I think my priorities.
Okay, I just want to make sure we just aren't leaving you hanging. You're asking. for
No,
something,
I
we're not
appreciate
doing
it.
Feeling
Can I
good.
weigh in even though it's your council
Absolutely,
comment?
absolutely.
I, as you know, work a full-time job and
Right.
I don't have much
Right.
time at all to be down
I
here.
understand.
So I think Kelly is obviously super confident. She
I agree.
knows everything that she's talking about, but I almost heard an offer for you to review the priorities or for the council to have a conversation about it. And because I really am unable to invest some of the time that all of you are investing in these departments, I would ask for that help for either, you know, you or for the council to have that conversation about prioritizing, not because I think Kelly can't do it or wouldn't do it properly, but because I think that she really deserves the attention from the council that some of the other department heads have given that I simply am unable to provide.
Okay, can we add that to one of the workshops? Because I wasn't looking to give you help you didn't want either, Kelly. It's kind of a,
I'll take it.
okay, good.
Why don't we schedule a meeting first? Why don't me, you and Kelly all sit down together and just have a meeting first? and
Okay.
try to Go over everything, and then if there are things that we can't get resolved,
Okay,
then we can bring it to council.
okay, gotcha. Cool.
Okay, has anybody got anything else?
Got
up
one
here?
more thing.
Okay,
I want to let everybody know it's mowing season. It's on, okay? We have 2 people, well, the boss is out mowing, the other one is out mowing. Everybody's on a lawnmower nonstop, plus all the daily emergencies that come up. So for the next, till we get through October, all right, we need everybody to use, the process. If they can't get on the computer to create a work request, come in here, they can talk to Loretta, whoever, get on a work request. But the 15 minutes here, the half hour here of people going and grabbing Chad, grabbing Matt, okay, really adding up. And so we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Have asked Chad to put that out to them, okay? Have them contact me, whatever you need to do. But, you know, these guys are so shorthanded and so busy at this point in time that we gotta quit. We gotta get more efficient with on them left and right. Thank you.
okay, Andrew, you ready?
I am 2 minutes or less, of course, and I only have one thing for you, council. Just since you're looking at comp planning and a couple other things potentially coming up, I wanted to put something out there that might work, may not work, but that you all can keep in mind. When I was teaching as a professor at the University of Florida Law School, I did a lot of work with the conservation clinic, supervising and working with the students there. Also, actually, that's actually how I got into municipal law originally, because it was a city. They did a lot of work with St. Augustine. Conservation clinic isn't just conservation. They do land use and environmental issues, real-time projects with cities, with other clients that come through the university. Long-term head of that department, mentor of mine, has just retired. I spoke to the individual who's taken that over, who actually took over my class when I quit teaching at the University of Florida. And I told him that I would let you all know, they're always looking for projects. Obviously, they couldn't handle something nearly the scope of a comp plan rewrite, but there may be one particular element or something like that where you're looking for something outside the box and I'm sure the cost is nominal, don't know what it would be.
Right.
But where you could look at student feedback, from people who are about to be licensed, and also they have grad students and whatever who are lawyers, and of course the department head,
Sure.
But that might be something in the future that, while this is going on and you have a professional planner on contract, perhaps if that was something you were interested in, could get with the law school and see if that's something where they could provide some feedback and do some of the planning work essentially for you. Planning students do participate in the program as well. So just want to let you know that is always an option for you. And if ever, a project like that does come up, I'm happy to, give Thomas Hawkins is the individual's name, give him a call and have a discussion with him and, see if it's something that would work on a semester type basis for them. So just something to keep in mind. Good free labor is always a good thing. And that's all I have.
No, I think very candidly, I hate to say it, when the fall semester starts, if they got students and projects they need to get done, that would be some great timing. Because we hopefully be through the budget.
They generally, I think, are kind of a semester out, but
No, I get it.
anytime, there's a longer term project.
Yeah.
Certainly you can set up a dialogue and see
Sure.
if it's something that they could handle and, do it a severely reduced cost for you.
Sure, absolutely. Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Third.
All in favor? Aye. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Wally.
7:30.